Okay, now I'm back. Hopefully this camera works during part two because I was cut off when I was about to finish my Q&A part two. So yeah, like what I said about Jeff Hardy next WWE's man, that's one of the reasons why he'll never go back to the Attitude Era, simply because the Attitude Era was raunchy and it was doing stuff out of the extreme and doing stuff to the extreme, and really the WWE's not gonna really do what it did back then, and they don't have the same guys or story. They can't do the same storylines they did back then that had that what made the Attitude Era pretty much. So yeah, hopefully I explain all your questions as best I can. And like I said, I'll be sure to do that video request sometime next week. Like I said, another YouTuber asked me to do another the same video, so I'll probably put two of your guys' video requests on there as your name. So yeah, I'll do that video sometime next week. So hopefully I explain your questions as best I can. So moving on to the next person. Sorry about that, real thirsty. The next person who sent me the question was the Jim Bob 360. His first question he put on here was, what is your Xbox Live name? My Xbox Live name is XPAC2006-2007J. Again, it's XPAC2006-2007J. So really, if you want to get that name, if you want to add me or you want to play me online, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 just came out today. So if you want to play me on that game sometime over the weekend or whatever, just feel free to add me on there on your Xbox Live or whatever, and probably have one-on-one matches, or even TMMT, which is coming out. Even though they're delaying it, when that game comes out, we can probably play on there. But yeah, either way, just add me on there if you want to, and we'll have some matches or whatever, or play side by side on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Number two he sent me was, what are your thoughts on the WWE misusing certain superstars like R-Truth? Really, I explained this in two videos already, so I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Not really to diss you or anything, because it's not really a knock on you or anything. It's just I already explained this and I already made a video about this, but I'm gonna answer this because I always answer questions and try to help out people. Really, I just don't like how the WWE's misusing all these guys, because these guys are good wrestlers. They can cut good promos. They can give you good matches. They bring out the best out of whoever they're in the ring with and make them look credible. And the fact that the WWE is misusing these guys and not using them the right way is just it just makes me wonder what the WWE's doing right now with some of their guys, and why they're not building for the future, and why guys like Paul Heyman are sending comments on many wrestling sites saying that the WWE is not misusing certain guys, or they're not building toward the future, and even TNA for that matter. So really, I just don't like how the WWE's using these guys. Hopefully they'll learn from it, but knowing WWE, they won't. And knowing WWE, they won't, so we're just gonna get what we get with these guys. And then the third question he sent me is, what are your thoughts on the WWE focusing on children more than adults? Really, I don't really like the idea, but in a way, the ratings that you see as of late are mostly from children, so I guess it is good, because the children is what is helping keep the WWE alive, because most of the adults nowadays, some of them really don't care about the WWE's product that much, mainly because of Cena and Triple H and Batista, which shows you how much WWE's evolved from way back from the wrestling days in the 1990s, the 80s, and even the Attitude Era. Just shows you how much of it has evolved. But still, I guess it's kind of good. There are some adults who still watch the WWE, so in a way it's still kind of good, but I wish they would start getting adult-oriented with some of their storylines to kind of help some of the storylines go and kind of help the storylines out a little bit, but that won't happen since the WWE is going to stick with the PG rating. But there are rumors, though, that the WWE is going to go right back to TV 14, like get away from the PG era, which is pretty much that like last Raw, not this Raw, but last Monday Night Raw when they had the bikini contest, kind of showed a little bit of promise or showed a little bit of signs that the WWE is going to get away from it. But still, if the WWE kind of stays what they are, I guess it's going to be okay. But still, I kind of want it to be more adult oriented, but we can't always get what we want. But hopefully, if this rumor is true, it's gonna help the WWE out a little bit, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's my answer to it. I guess it's okay because the WWE's main audience as of late has just been children, so I guess it is kind of good. Then moving over to this fourth question is, what do you think is better? Which do you think is better, WWE or TNA? Well, right now, both companies really haven't shown any promise or progress. They've kind of been not pushing young guys or focusing on new young guys. They've been using the same formula for the same storylines, and guys aren't being made or built or making a name for themselves. So really, both of them aren't really that good. But if I can pick one, I guess the WWE, because lately there has been some young guy. There has been WWE has been showing some promise a little bit towards building young guys, but they haven't been showing enough promise to building young guys. At least they're building some. At least they're building one or two guys. As TNA really isn't really building any guys at all. They're just building the old guys and focusing on the old guys and putting the old guys in the main events and rinsing and repeating the same main events over and over again. At least WWE is trying to do something different, even though they're still not as good as well. But yeah, I'd say the WWE. So hopefully I answered your questions as best I can, and I didn't go around them. So yeah, those are Jimbo Bob 316's questions. And then moving on to the next person who sent me the question, his question is Sumage82. What do you think of the guest hosts for Raw? Really, it's a good idea. I like the WWE doing this concept of having a guest host show up on Raw every other week. My main gripe about it though is the WWE doesn't make it a surprise, like do a Raw where you really don't know who's going to be the guest Raw, instead of putting it on Raw and on WWE.com and telling you who the special guest host is. I just wish the WWE would surprise you with that, but I guess the WWE doesn't want to do that. It kind of hurts it a little bit, but what are you going to do? It's the second part of this question. Do you think the WWE is trying too hard to be mainstream by putting Seth Green and ZZ Top as hosts? Yeah, I think they are trying a little bit too hard by having these guest hosts, these guest hosts that you just mentioned. Yeah, I do think they're trying a little bit too hard, but WWE is just trying to get attention, and like you've seen before with Mike Tyson and all that other stuff, they'll do whatever they can to get attention and get people talking. So hopefully I answer your question as best I can. Moving over to the second person, it's Kira Quinn, I believe his name is. He said, what do you think of SmackDown vs. Raw 2009? Really, it was an okay game. They did fix the mistakes that were in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, but really, it kind of got repetitive to me. The controls were a little bit clunky to me, a little bit, and like I said, the storylines were just sort of rinse and repeat. They really weren't like how they did in the first SmackDown games. They really weren't like that. And it just got repetitive, like I said, and it got boring. Hopefully they fixed those mistakes on SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 and improved the controls and improved the storylines and improved the general manager mode. Thus, SmackDown will be where it should be, like all the good SmackDown games were. And then moving over to the second person. So yeah, hopefully I answer your questions as best I can, Claire Ray Clan, I believe your name is. Then the second person, the third person who sent me his questions, hopefully I answer these questions as fast as I can. It's from Gold Standard 00924. His first question he sent me is, how long do you think the whole celebrity or general manager on Raw will last? Just as long as people are into it and the ratings keep going the way they are, it'll keep going on for as long as people really don't get tired of it. Second question, I seen R-Truth as a member of 3 Live Crew with Conan and Big J and